just transitioned, of course, from the transfer talk where I was going to talk about AEW, and I did get talking into it quite a bit, but then I realized how much time I would need to talk about it. So here we are in another video. This one isn't going to have a specific title because this is, I wouldn't call it a one-off because I do want to talk about AEW in the future, but I will say that this will be good. You know, this will be just one of those videos, you know. So you probably didn't watch the last video because I don't have any real subscribers that follow video to video. But I was busy explaining how Brandy Rhodes is in this rather unexperienced, can't wait to see what she delivers, versus Ali, a girl with an extremely baby face, you know, extremely cute, innocent face, and the body of a Greek goddess. It makes no sense to me. But nevertheless, we're going to see the match between these two, Brandy and Ali. I missed that strike. How careless. So, as I was saying, Ali made a great tag team with Bea Priestley. She is a good wrestler, but she had a pretty poor match against the librarian Leva Bates at Fyter Fest. In fact, it was regarded as an even worse match than the hardcore match between CEO host Alex Bailey and slapstick comedy wrestler Michael Nakazawa. And that match had everything from GameCube controllers to Lego blocks, so that tells you all you need to know. I don't know if that was down to Leva Bates or if that was down to Ali. I mean, Ali held her own. She ended up winning the match. I don't know. This is a tricky one to call. Really tricky one to call. I'm going to go with Brandy. I think Brandy needs to carry some momentum going forward, because it's evident that she's going to be with Cody a lot of the times, whether if Cody is wrestling or not, different story. But Brandy's going to be around, and she is going to be a heel. She is going to be a heel regardless. With the role she has been given, Chief Brand Officer, which guess what, is the exact same role that Stephanie McMahon has in WWE. Although I think the reason why Brandy might have been given it is kind of more of a joke. You know, Chief Brand Officer is called Brandy. I just think, who knows what they're thinking. They're a nuts family, the Runnels, so it could be. It could be either or. I'm rooting for Brandy, but it could be Ali. You know, it could be Ali. It depends how hard they want to push her, Ali. I don't know. Ali's just she baffles me because she looks amazing. She looks absolutely amazing. But the timing, the speed, just not quite there. Maybe it was ring rust. Who knows? She obviously has her whole life, you know, to get better, and it doesn't necessarily take people that long. So you can't take away from the ability she has, Ali. But after watching videos of Brandy training, I just think she is preparing herself for a men's level fight. Like, you see the women train, unless they're the beasts, you know, the strong ones, they tend to have, you know, the similar sort of routines. But watching Brandy in the ring was, it was promising. You know, she has the potential, without question. She's 36 years old. She has an athletic background. I just think she's got a chance to impress a lot of people here. And I would really be disappointed if this match sucked. I don't think it will suck. I think at worst it'll be all right. But I'm going with Brandy Rhodes for the win because I just don't think Ali needs that much momentum, because she won't be she won't be pushed right to the forefront. Absolutely not. If anything, she'll, as I said, Bea Priestley, her former tag partner, has signed with AEW, or is rumored to sign with AEW, one of the two. And they said they're bringing in the women's tag division eventually as well. I just think that's going to be more geared for her and Bea Priestley. Because Ali just doesn't come across as that strong of a singles competitor. Like I said, I've seen her in a tag team and she did really well. So, yeah, I would say this has to go to Brandy, just because she would then be a heel with a bit of weight to carry around. You know, she could get booed off the stage if she ever pinned a Kylie Ray. If she ended up being very technically sound, we could put her in with great matches with Britt Baker, with some of the Joshi. Yeah, I just think it would be more beneficial if Brandy was to win. Having said that, they might give it to Ali. It just depends what they're going to do with the tag division. They know themselves what they're doing, but we're all just guessing. But if this was me booking it, I would be booking Brandy to win. It took a long time to cover that match, probably because there's just so much to talk about. And there's only 5 matches on this card. There needs to be another 3 or 4 added to this card before we start to talk about a complete set. Maybe 2 minimum, more. Because just 5 matches isn't a long show. 5 matches at the rate, if this was a WWE show, 5 matches could fill a 3-hour show easily. But with All Elite, I think 5 matches would probably take us to about an hour and a half, tops. So yeah, I just think there's a couple more matches to be added to that. It's going to be hard to say what, because a lot of the main event players who they've already established are already in matches. We're about to go over some more of them as we speak right now. So the next one I'm going to talk about, these aren't in order, by the way, in which they'd be shown. Although I do think Brandy and Ali would be opening the main show. So, the next match is going to be the number 1 contender for the AEW World Heavyweight title. And that would be Hangman Adam Page. He is facing the Superbad Kip Sabian at Fight for the Fallen. Why? I have no idea. But they announced it at the last event, and they're like, okay, Kip Sabian's going to be facing the winner of the Fatal 4-Way, and of course the winner of that Fatal 4-Way was Hangman Adam Page. So against Superbad Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian already has a win over Sammy Guevara. If you don't know him, he is a wrestling vlogger on YouTube. He is also a signed wrestler now with AEW. Could be smart to have a vlogger in backstage. Just it's different, isn't it? So Kip Sabian versus Hangman Adam Page. For me, I mean, this should be a no-brainer. I think this is just going to be a win for Page. Just make him look absolutely unstoppable for that match against Jericho in August. And this is when AEW. That's going to be a moment that AEW are going to have to deal with. We'll definitely cover that closer to time. But I think right now, huge dilemma about who should be the first world champion. Should it be the guy that we're pushing so hard right off the bat, or should it be the guy whose name is down in history already, but then we can associate it with our title? Do we do that now, or do we wait? Because how long is Jericho going to be with AEW? You would hope longer than a year. You'd hope maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. Depends how long the guy thinks he can go. And without question, he's going to hold a title at some point. Because, it's Chris Jericho. If you want, sure, you don't need to give him any more credibility, but you're going to have to give him credibility, now. You can't just say, this guy's won so many titles in the past. People will want to go, no, this guy needs to prove that he can still win the title. that is what will keep people interested. So they've got a big dilemma when it comes to All Out, and we'll go over my prediction closer to the time, depending on how the story goes. Big fish. But yeah, I think this is open shut win for Hangman Page. I am British, so it would be nice to see Kip Sabian pick up a win, but I've already seen him pick up a win, and as I said, I just don't see it happening for him. I just don't. Yeah, I think it's got Hangman written all over it. Next match is Shima. So Shima, the man who led the Strong Hearts to a defeat against SCU at Double or Nothing, but was also the man to beat SCU's leader Christopher Daniels in a one-on-one match at Fyter Fest. He is going up against the other man in the company. Of course, we talked about Hangman Page, we talked about Chris Jericho. Let's talk about the only man who's ever had a 7-star wrestling match, shall we? Let's talk about Kenny Omega taking on Shima at Fight for the Fallen. There's your reason to watch it already. Kenny Omega, another match, considering he broke his nose in the pay-per-view in May. Absolutely ferocious dedication from Kenny Omega. Completely arranged the Fyter Fest thing as well for the company. He is such a unique presence to have in that roster, and such a talented wrestler. I mean, such a talented wrestler. Amazingly talented. I can't wait. I can't wait, and I think that Omega's got it. Because you see, Omega lost to Double or Nothing, but then he pinned the Laredo Kid in the 6-man tag match that they had at Fyter Fest. But would they really give another win to Shima, particularly over Kenny Omega? Because that would be sending the message that we're going to push Shima over and above Kenny Omega. And Kenny Omega is the bigger draw here. Another thing people are criticizing AEW about is, 50-50 booking, the winners are predictable. And it's like, yes, of course it is, right? And the reason why they're predictable is because these are the results that you want to see happen. These are the results that should happen. Because you talk to yourself in your head, you go, well, what would make this work? Well, if he won, he won. That's the only way to go forward. And then you get pissed off that that's what actually happened. It's like, these are the early days, right? This isn't WWE. These are the early days of a new fledgling company. We have to establish some 50-50 booking, or it just looks like you've got 4 or 5 guys out there that can win matches and the rest are jobbers. Why send that image? Why send that message? Of course you don't want to send that message. So you got to have a mix. You got to have some guys winning more than others, sure, but you've got to have guys winning matches, and you've got to protect guys like MJF. MJF, biggest heel. Of course, everyone wants to see him lose, but the moment he loses his first match, he loses credibility straight away. So, best thing to do to establish him as a heel, put him in all these matches with multiple people, protect the character by not having him get pinned, and that way he can remain a big deal until whenever he's called into question. And he can pin some of the lower level guys, get a huge reaction, and then when one of the better ones beat him, huge pop. That is what wrestling is about, right? And so I'm sorry if you all think this is too predictable, but that's because when you're at home playing 2K19 or whatever, and you're trying to make your own story, right? You've got to start basic to then get more complex, because you've got to establish the characters, which is actually very easy to begin with. And that's why WWE are struggling now, because they have to establish characters on a yearly basis, promoting new people from NXT. Definitely not helping, by the way. I know that seems like a great way to drip feed talent to the roster. It hasn't worked. It should work, but it hasn't. we need to appreciate the booking of AEW here, because so far there have been matches that have surprised me, but most of them I have predicted right. And again, I don't think of this as boring. I just think of this as good damn writing, because the people I pick to win is based on how to build a good story. I'm thinking about a good wrestling story. Like, who do I want to still have respect for? Who do we want to see keep losing? You know, who do we want to see win? It's all standard stuff. And on this occasion, we need to see Kenny Omega beat CIMA. And to be honest, there's not many people that would tell you CIMA would win. And then they'll go off on that rant I keep talking about. Too predictable. It's like, no, just needs to happen. Right? Because after the first title match at All Out, where Hangman Page or Chris Jericho was going to be champion, like, you would be a naive fool to think that Kenny Omega won't be close and in and around that scene. He's going to win the big one quite a few times. Right? And this isn't to do with bias. Like, this is another thing that's going to annoy me. I feel like Cody, the Young Bucks, and Kenny have pigeonholed themselves by calling themselves executive vice presidents. Because now, instead of them having credibility whenever they win a title, you're going to have that huge group of excuse me. You're going to have that huge group of fans going, well, the only reason they won it is because they're executive vice presidents. And it's like, sure, but, you know, it's not like this is Shane McMahon we're talking about here. We're talking about Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, and the Young Bucks. We're talking about a good heel. I'm sorry, Cody is a great heel. I'm not going to say he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, but Cody is one of the best characters in the world. You know, the cane, the suit, the now white hair, it works perfectly. He has created a wrestling character that people won't forget. And he looks like a heel. Cody Rhodes is one of the best heels in the game. He does new stuff. He does crazy stuff. He's got strength. He's got speed. He's got agility. Kenny Omega has everything. If Kenny Omega went to WWE right now, he could put on a good match with anyone in that roster. He could make No Way Jose look like the next big thing, and it's probably the best tag team in the world. Sorry, Revival. And Kenny Omega, well, people again just say he's just Meltzer's boy, but then ask yourself this: why is Kenny Omega Meltzer's boy and not Seth Rollins? Why not John Cena or Brock Lesnar? It's because Kenny Omega performs. He does new stuff. He does crazy stuff. He's got strength. He's got speed. He's got agility. Kenny Omega has everything. If Kenny Omega went to WWE right now, he could put on a good match with anyone in that roster. He could make No Way Jose look like the next big thing in WWE. I'm being very deadly serious. That is how good Kenny Omega is. And if you think he's overrated, you need to watch him. Right? Because if you think he's overrated, you clearly don't watch him. You know, the only guy right now in the world the two guys in the world that could go toe to toe with Kenny Omega right now is Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada. I would be willing to argue that Okada is actually the best in the world, but Omega is still up there for that conversation, you know. So we need to give him wins. So Kenny Omega over CIMA. I'm so worried I'm over explaining my reasons for these matches. Like I said, there's only 5. Well, I've only got 2 more to go through. So this next one I am super excited about. This one is going to be my match to watch on the card. This is the one that I think everyone needs to watch. It's another 6-man tag match. It's the 3 heels, MJF, Sammy Guevara, and the recently turned heel Shawn Spears, also known as Ty Dillinger from WWE. They will be taking on the Extreme threesome of Darby Allin, Joey Janela, and Jimmy Havoc. Now, this match is extremely hard to predict. This match is extremely hard to predict, and I'll explain why. So, On one side, we've got Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, Joey Janela, okay? Darby Allin didn't lose to Cody. The insinuation is that he did lose to Cody because Rhodes hit his finisher, go for the count, and the time of the match expired about half a second before the ref could count to 3 on the pin. Very well done. So, Darby Allin hasn't taken an L, and he hasn't taken a win, okay? Then we got Jimmy Havoc, who's taken an L already. You know, he had a good time in the Battle Royal, as did Janela. But Havoc took the L to Hangman Page at Fyter Fest. You know, MJF ducked the buckshot lariat. He hit Havoc with it, and then the dead eye on Havoc as well. And Janela also took an L. If you don't know what I mean, an L is a loss. Janela also lost at Fyter Fest as well. So you've got one guy with a draw, and you've got 2 guys who lost. Okay? Janela lost to Jon Moxley. And if you don't know who Jon Moxley is, his name is Dean Ambrose. And yeah, that is the same guy who only left WWE a couple of months ago. They're taking on the much protected MJF. Another man who's only had a loss in AEW, Sammy Guevara, who I said lost to Kip Sabian. And then we have the AEW match debut for Shawn Spears. He was in the Battle Royal, and he hit Cody Rhodes with a steel chair over his head in Fyter Fest, which of course became the biggest talking point of the event, because everyone says that you don't know how to deliver a chair shot. Everyone's been criticizing the wrestlers. This was down to the chair. The chair was gimmicked. Okay, so they had done what they had needed done to the chair to make it safe. Okay, so that's why Cody didn't get concussed. So if you think about it, the gimmick did work. But what happened was the ridge bent inward on the main seat of the chair, and when it bent in and took up all that skin on Cody's head. So yeah, it was awful, but like everyone's just saying, oh, this was Shawn Spears' fault, oh, this was AEW's fault. No, this was physics, okay? This was just something they had prepared for, and like I said, at the end of the day, technically it did work out. It's just that one of the bits of a hard substance bent round and cut him on the head, right? This wasn't Shawn's fault. This wasn't AEW's fault. This could have happened to anyone, anywhere, at any show. This could have happened to Rollins on WWE, but of course, they don't risk it. They've been hitting people in the back, in the stomach, instead of on the head now. But this was what AEW tried to go for the effect, the headshot. It's not something we're going to see often. He only did that because it was so dramatic. It was such like a unnecessary level. You know, it's like taking it to that level of, oh man, that's not cool. That was the whole point. It's just a shame about the cut. So do you see the dilemma with this match? Let's go back to the match. So we've got 3 guys who haven't won against 3 guys that haven't won. That's what we're dealing with here. Someone is about to get their first AEW win, but who the hell is it going to be? Is it going to be Ty Dillinger, right? The guy who has come to AEW because he was promised something better. Is it going to be Sammy Guevara? That's probably my least likely pick, although I don't know. I don't know about Sammy Guevara. I don't know. Maybe he'll take the L again. I don't know. I hope he does, because I don't like Sammy Guevara. MJF, again, I just don't see him getting pinned. Although he's made enemies with Havoc, I don't know. Yeah, we've also got to remember that MJF has also made enemies with Shawn Spears, because MJF was starring on Shawn Spears after the whole Cody incident. So we've got to think about that. And you know what? That one point might just have given me my answer. Well, I'll start off with my gut. My gut tells me that Havoc, Allen, and Janela are going to win. Because they need it. The badass guys of AEW need a win. They need to prove that they're badasses. So they need to beat these guys. With the heat of between MJF and Shawn Spears going to exist, it's going to affect the match. What I now see happening is MJF and Shawn Spears going off on a brawl. Right now, hear me out. This is brilliant booking right here. Maybe not. But either way, yeah. We have MJF, Shawn Spears, right? They start arguing, maybe start brawling, okay? Sammy Guevara is currently the guy tagged in, and he's like, oh, what the fuck's going on, you know? And then one of the other three, whether it be Janela, Allen, or Havoc, get the win over Sammy Guevara. It would mean that Guevara would have to take a second loss. And I don't think there's anyone yet that's had to take 2 losses. No, I don't think so. There have already been a couple of people with 2 wins, you know, more notably the Young Bucks. I don't know who could get the pin, right? It could be Janela, it could be Allen, it could be Havoc. I'm not going to predict who's going to get the pin, but I think if anyone there is going to be pinned, it's got to be Sammy Guevara. Just because he is, out of those 6 guys, he's the one that people care the least about. Like, out of all of them, people care about Shawn Spears the most because of what he's just done to Cody and because he's Ty Dillinger, the perfect 10. He's the big hype man out of the 6, right? Then you've got the bad boy Joey Janela. You want to keep his credibility, despite him putting on an absolutely barn burner of a non-sanctioned match with Jon Moxley. What a match that was! Yeah. Then you've got, Havoc and Allen, MJF. I'd say MJF is probably more taken notice of than Darby Allin, but Jimmy Havoc has gone over immediately in the US because of his gimmick, and I knew that would happen. Because, I mean, look at him, big leather jacket, a mask. Everyone wants to follow a goth because they're just so badass, That's why I'm one. I just love Jimmy Havoc. If it was up to me, he'd be the one getting the win, but I just don't see it. It probably will be Allen or Janela. What I'm hoping for from this, so like I said, tell you what, here's the prediction right here. Here's the prediction. Darby Allin will pin Sammy Guevara, and MJF and Shawn Spears will have their own little brawl, etc., etc. And then we'll have, Havoc and Janela celebrating with Allin. So we give Darby Allin the win, right, over Guevara. Darby Allin's got some momentum, okay? So, what we do then is we have Darby Allin challenge Cody. I don't know, actually. Would it not be the other way around? I was away to say, would we have Darby Allin challenge Cody for a rematch at All Out? But having said that, then they would have to delay the story of Shawn Spears attacking Cody, which... I don't know. Is that something we'll wait till TV? I don't think so. I think this is something they'll have to capitalize on sooner rather than later. I think... Scratch that prediction. I think it'll be Janela. Janela or someone will pin Sammy Guevara, and MJF and Shawn Spears will have their own little brawl. This is why I was predicting the Derby thing. I think we should have an MJF versus Shawn Spears match. I think that would be an excellent match. And plus, we've seen the rivalry from the Battle Royal already, and now we're seeing, of course, MJF kicking up dust because of Shawn Spears hitting Cody. I don't know. I mean, I definitely think Sammy Guevara is going to take the loss in that 6-man match. That is not a question in my mind. It's just under the circumstances, you know. Maybe things will become a bit more clearer if we have a Being the Elite episode before Fight for the Fallen. If we do, then I will change my mind. But as it stands, I just think Havoc, Allen, and Janela will be victorious in that match. And I think there will be some nonsense going on between MJF and Shawn Spears. I think that's inevitable. So we're going to talk about the continuation of that. And that's the last match of the 5 that have been confirmed, which is Cody and Dustin Rhodes versus the Young Bucks. Dustin is recovering from a big old gash on the front of his head. Cody is now recovering from a big old gash at the back of his head. And then we've got the Young Bucks, who are 100% fit and coming off the back of another win. This match, I can't predict a winner. I mean, what do? Do you give Cody and Dustin a beautiful win as the brothers, or do you be realistic and have the Young Bucks win, which would probably happen? Because surely you would kill the Young Bucks' momentum if they lost to Cody and Dustin, but then you could argue they're not tag champions anymore. We're not having the tag titles for another while yet. Why not just have Cody and Dustin be put over? You know? I think that would be really smart. I think, personally, Cody and Dustin will win. However, it just doesn't sound right, does it? That the former Goldust and Cody Rhodes, who's now recovering from staples in the back of his head, could possibly beat the Young Bucks. But it's brothers versus brothers. I mean, the whole connection with the whole Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers things was that they were all brothers, so, you know, that's why they've got these stronger bonds. I don't know. But do you give Dustin another loss? I mean, he's probably chilled out at this point, you know. At this point, he's not going to be thinking about wins being important for him, but it seems like they would have the Young Bucks win the match, but I think it would be very nice if Cody and Dustin did win it. I think that would be nice. Just down to the fact that, you know, the Young Bucks are going to keep going. They're going to keep going. They're definitely going to be competing for the AEW tag titles. Cody and Dustin, well, I mean, this is Dustin's last ride, you know. As far as I'm aware, he hasn't signed like a contract. He's just doing it match by match. I don't know. Sentimental value, I would want Cody and Dustin to win. But I think maybe writing logic would have the Young Bucks win. That's all really there is. I mean, as I said, there's only a match, but at this point we would have 3 tag team matches if we did that, so maybe it does make sense. It's all about balance, isn't it? It's all about balance. Yeah, so Fight for the Fallen. Let's just go over the matches and the predictions once more. Brandy Rhodes versus Ali. I believe that Brandy will win, as I think Ali will just be waiting patiently to be reunited with Bea Priestley so that they can challenge for the AEW tag titles, women's tag titles, that is. Hangman Adam Page versus Kip Sabian. I think this is a no-brainer. I think it's going to be Hangman Page. Sabian's had a win already, so he's not going to be buried by a loss. They're pushing Hangman as the next big thing, so yeah, Hangman should definitely beat Kip Sabian. Hands down there. He's definitely one of the biggest stars immediately right now in AEW, Hangman Page. People just love him. You know, they just love the music. They love the if Stone Cold Steve Austin was a cowboy vibe about him. You know, Hangman's just a cool wrestler. He's cool. He's a cool gimmick. He's a good wrestler as well, and his finishers are pretty badass. So yeah, Hangman deserves the win over Kip. Kip will get his chance at something else. This is definitely Hangman's moment, the start of this company, so let's keep that going. Kenny Omega versus Shima. Shima is a very talented wrestler, but as I have said before, Kenny Omega is Kenny Omega. You'd expect him to win this match, just to keep the credibility going. So Kenny Omega, I think, will win that match. The six-man tag match, Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin and Joey Janela versus MJF, Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears. As I said, I really couldn't tell you who's going to pin who, but my absolute gut is telling me that Sammy Guevara is going to take the loss so that MJF and Shawn Spears can continue this feud that started on being the Elite, of course, MJF being very pissed off that Shawn Spears would attack Cody, because it seems that MJF has some very weird, fucked up attachment to Cody, even though he's always backstabbing him. It's very strange. It's a very strange platonic relationship that MJF and Cody have going. But yeah, I think this will affect the match. So MJF and Shawn Spears, I don't see getting pinned again to protect them. Sammy Guevara doesn't really need the protection. The other day I laughed a bit in Being the Elite when he said that, we need guys like Brandon Cutler to be the jobbers. Obviously as a joke, but when you thought about it, you were like, well, given the position that you're in, I see you being a jobber for quite a while, until there's a mid-card title at least. So yeah, I see Guevara taking the L. Could be to anyone. Jimmy Havoc took an L, and so did Janela, so both of them could use with a win. Darby Allin got a draw against Cody. Do we put him over by giving him the win? Like I said, any one of those three guys could win. I'd be shocked if it was anyone else who won that match. So yeah, we're going for the badass trio to win that one rather than the bad asses. The asses right now, the main heels against the crazy people basically of AEW. And then Cody and Dustin Rhodes versus the Young Bucks. Again, I want Cody and Dustin to win. Most of us probably do, but you just see it being the Young Bucks, don't you? You just picture the match, and you just see Cody and Dustin standing over the Young Bucks, and you just think, that doesn't seem right. You just think about it for a moment. I'll let you sit with that. I am seriously hoping that there's going to be more matches added to this card, because I'm not going to be paying, if this is free in the States, I'm not going to be paying money in the UK to watch 5 matches. I'm paying for at least 8, 7 bare minimum is what I'm expecting from this card. So we're at 6 days till the pay-per-view. All I can say is I would stay tuned to Being the Elite. Maybe keep an eye on their Twitter accounts, because there are clearly matches still yet to be made. And I just don't know. Could they put on the third tag match in one night? With the 6-man tag and the tag between Cody and the Young Bucks. Could they really do like another qualifier? Probably not. Which is a shame, like I said, because that would have been great. But having said that, I don't know who else should have a match. I mean, if there's any other rivalries that I can think of, I can't right now. Peter Avalon still hasn't had a match. Luchasaurus hasn't had a match. The reason I was talking about the tag teams is because when I look at this card, I'm thinking that's what is missing. It's missing Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy in their first ever tag match. Because people want to see this now. They seriously want to see it. It works. It's a great gimmick. It's just fallen into our laps perfectly. So I think we should do something with them. Yeah, like I said, there's a couple of gaps on this card that need filling. So yeah, it could be good. Could be a disappointment, but the 5 matches that I've said so far shouldn't be a disappointment. I am a little skeptical about Brandy versus Ali, because Brandy's quite inexperienced. Ali, as I've said, is more of a tag wrestler. She's She was okay against Leva Bates at Fyter Fest. Again, not sure if that was down to Leva Bates or Ali. I wouldn't really want to pass the blame. I just know what I watched. The other matches, though, I'm expecting to be brilliant. And you can expect to be brilliant. So, if you don't know already, Saturday night... I'm not sure if it's free from start to finish for the United States, like Fyter Fest was, but there's probably a pretty strong chance it will be. It's available in the UK for either $7.99 or $8.99. That's available through Fight TV. If you're a little confused, because you used ITV Box Office for Double or Nothing, it's fine. It's ITV Box Office that have set this up through Fight TV. I watched Fyter Fest. I didn't have a single buffering issue. Not a sponsor, obviously, because I don't have any followers. I'm just telling you how it was. It was very good on Fight TV. I would say it would be worth watching. The next blockbuster show, don't go into Fight for the Falling expecting like the best pay-per-view you've ever seen. I think it will be better than Fyter Fest, but I don't think it will be better than Double or Nothing. I think the next big pay-per-view we're going to expect is All Out, and anything can happen at that. So All Out is what we're building towards, but Fight for the Fallen is the last pay-per-view we have until then. So let's make the most of it. Let's hope they fill out that card a bit more. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching AEW, by the way. It's a great product. We're all going to enjoy it. Catch you later. Let's do this.